Link, it's your boy. Welcome to our show. You guys are doing well, having a wonderful day on this noisy, rainy 7th July 2025. You guys are doing well, having a wonderful day. Sorry about that. Today we're talking about zombies. Yeah. Zombies. So lately I've been getting into literature a little bit, and we've been reading some H.P. Lovecraft. We've been reading some old things. For example, Dracula. And then we went into a deep dive, and then of course we had a phase where we were listening to oh my god, there's a really good series but it's a weird series because they're werewolf. It's kind of like a romance thing. It's like, okay, and then talking about zombies. Why? Because zombies are, I don't know, I felt the need to do this because I felt like zombies are superior creature. They're just a great thing, and they're super cool, but they weren't popularized that much. So, for example, Dracula exists for almost 100 years, to be honest. In zombie, they were popularized by George Romero, who kind of is the father of zombies. But then they were popularized by shows like Walking Dead. Walking Dead is the show that made me kind of realize how cool they were, you know? But then you play games like Resident Evil. Resident Evil also has this huge history, and they're infected, but they're also zombies. Movies like 28 Days Later is zombies, you know? And zombies are such a common trope. It makes you ask yourself, why? Why are zombies so popular? Well, first of all, zombies are human. They're not transformed, they're not supernatural beings. They're infected. So, for example, we had a cure. A good movie is I Am Legend. They said they found the cure for cancer, right? And then it's crazy because I'm thinking also about Last of Us. Are they zombie or are they infected? The Last of Us is probably one of the only source of media that correctly use the term infected. They're infected by cordyceps, which is a mushroom. It is in real life. You know, with I Am Legend, they found a cure for a sickness, which was cancer. And like, guess what? We can fix cancer, and then they did get infected. So, oops. But the kind of the best part about that, feels good. Feels really good. Getting bitten by mosquito again, or bitten by zombies. It's the factor of there's just no stopping them. So, for example, zombies aren't these great beings, aren't these amazing. Like, for example, you take a vampire, they're super strong, right? A vampire has this weakness. Zombies don't have weakness. They're just weak. They're just slow, right? And it's such a common trope. And at the same time, with zombies, for example, Walking Dead, there's really cool effect with And I'm gonna get some hate. I love Vampire Diaries, but you look at Vampire Diaries, they have fangs. That's pretty much it. They'll do something with their eyes. For a zombie, you can really go forward. Like the zombie, something out of his face, right? You can really go ahead and do some cool shit, but it's just the playability of a zombie. It doesn't matter how they get. A zombie is something that comes up from the dead, right? It's an undead. We used to call them undead, by the way. Before people start using the term zombies, it was undead, and it's just so fucking cool because it's just such an interesting concept. So for undead, we're always afraid of the dead and possessed and evil spirits, right? With zombies, it's more so like they're infected. In Resident Evil, they could bite you and you could kind of like, okay, well, I got transformed because I got bitten, right? It's kind of nice. It's kind of really nice. Kind of fucking really nice, you know? And then zombies. Genesis was kind of against Resident Evil 8 and 7. And I kind of understand why, because they're not really infected. They're more so like mold. Like, it's not the same thing, right? And it's very pure, because with zombie, but the cool thing is, in movies like 28 Days Later, and movies like Last of Us, you can kind of see them very, very human, right? And then the coolest thing that they did in Walking Dead is, at the time, they could say, well, this guy has been a zombie for a while because he's decomposed. This zombie just turned because he's kind of looking normal. Just a great thing. And then with zombies, there's breeds of zombies. Like one of the things that does it really well is Days Gone. Days Gone does it really well. It does an evolution, right? Days Gone is actually a really good game. Yeah. So the zombies are as a trope are amazing. Just so much thing can change. Like you wanna have, for example, it would be so simple. You take, for example, I'm playing Gundam. I'm not gonna go far with that. Gundam. Technically speaking, you take a giant robot. That's Gundam. Um, but I'm also, for example, Pokemon. It's a trope of Pokemon. Like zombies are all that. For a Pokemon, you cannot look too human. For a Gundam, you cannot look too small. Because it's gonna be weird, you know. But a zombie, you can pretty much whatever you want. And then Romero kind of did the rule of zombies. So because he was kind of behind it being popularized, it's like, okay, well, zombies are the way to go. This is the way. So when you use zombie, you kind of have to, you don't have to do shit, but you kind of have to respect the lore on them. They're not a new thing. Now, for example, you take a guy like H.P. Lovecraft, who introduced a lot of things. For example, Cthulhu, which is a god. Now, H.P. Lovecraft is behind Cthulhu, right? And I don't think a lot of people, except for him, use Cthulhu. Now, this is not true. A lot of people use Cthulhu, but at the same time, nobody made a movie about Cthulhu. Except for H.P. Lovecraft, that make a book. So it's kind of nice. And then with zombies also, is I think with The Walking Dead, what they did that was really cool was they literally were like, hey, listen, ouch. The cool thing with Walking Dead was they literally like, okay, well, you know this person, can you kill them? You know? One of the main character, which is Morgan, his wife, she opened the door and she killed his son. And then when it was time to kill his son, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. Like, what would you do if your neighbors? It's insane. It's insane. What would you do? And the thing with the zombie is it's multiplying, and they're next to unkillable. So, for example, when I talk about the rules, you know that George Romero said that you have to kill the brain, right? It's Walking Dead. That's the way to go. Walking Dead is possibly one of the most complete piece of the zombies, but then at the same time, in Walking Dead, the enemy aren't the zombies anymore. They're the sanctuary. They're the terminus. They're the wolf. They're the claimer. Another one I didn't watch. That's pretty much it, right? And the zombies are not. But then with Walking Dead, at the end, what we do is we did a real fear of zombies. And the real fear of zombies is what? The real fear of zombies is what if they evolve. Some of them can open door. Some of them can grab a rock and destroy windows. Some of them can climb surfaces. You know? They're kind of cool. Yes, the zombies are the superior creature. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't see something about the humanity behind it, but it could be said for vampires and werewolves. Let me know your favorite creature in the comments.